Hey guys, for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the celebrity fragrance Reb'l Fleur by Rihanna. I will be giving you guys my thoughts on this scent, and I'll be sharing with you guys all of the scent combinations that I have tested out with this fragrance, from favorite down to my least favorite. Now, for the scent Reb'l Fleur itself, this is a nice powerhouse fragrance. It has great longevity and great lasting power. I would say that this would last for 8+ hours as long as I sprayed a decent amount. Now, the more fragrances that I have tested out with this scent, the harder it was to get longevity out of each scent combo, just because my bottle went from like here down to here. So just keep that in mind. I'll kind of explain that with each of the scent fragrances that I have tested out with this scent. But yeah, in those cases, this Reb'l Fleur only lasted about 6 hours with great projection. And then after the 6-hour mark, it was basically a skin scent, and I could only smell it if I put my wrist right up to my nose. Even though it did last 8 hours only as a skin scent after 6, but that was just if I only had a couple sprays. So just keep that in mind. But as for the scent itself, it is such a good patchouli scent. This is a strong patchouli. If you don't like patchouli, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do, this is a really good one. And I think it's a lot easier on the nose than Into the Night. Although I like Into the Night, I can only wear it certain days because I would not want to smell like that every day. This one is a lot lighter and easier for the summertime. It's got this nice coconut note that kind of smooths it out a little bit and makes it less screechy. And then there's also this like rum undertone with the fruits that a lot of Rihanna's fragrances have to them. And I didn't think this at first, but this has slowly became my favorite Rihanna fragrance. I have tested out Riri, Crush, the nude version, and this is my favorite in terms of longevity, lasting power. Some of those, like, they don't last, but this one, it lasts and lasts forever. So I have to give it to this one. It is such a powerhouse, and it is a really nice summer scent. It does have a little bit of a soapy quality to it, where it's a little bit powdery. And depending on what scent you pair it with, it can almost smell a little bit musky and soapy. So just keep that in mind. Now moving on to my favorite scent combo. So this is the #1 favorite. This is Into the Night with Reb'l Fleur. I didn't think I would like this scent combo as much. I got this idea from Natalie Grace here on YouTube and TikTok. She said that this was her favorite combo to pair with Reb'l Fleur. And I thought that this scent would be too much because they're both pretty strong patchouli heavy fragrances. But they pair so nice together. Into the Night is really strong. It's a little bit bitter in my opinion because it's such a dark, heavy patchouli. Sometimes it smells like battery acid to me. Sometimes like a little bit cough medicine-y. Depending on what you pair it with. Do not pair this with Pink Soft and Dreamy because then it'll smell like battery acid. I didn't mean to do that, but I had a shower gel Into the Night, and I thought, okay, I'll wear Soft and Dreamy and use this as a shower gel. Terrible decision. I smell like battery acid for the rest of the night. So don't recommend those two together. But as for these two, these just work so well together. I think Reb'l Fleur, it has a softer quality to it in the terms that the patchouli isn't as screechy because it has a coconut note. So I felt that these two just worked so well together. Reb'l Fleur also has like these fruity notes, and even though Into the Night has fruity notes to it, it's still on the bitter side. So to me, Reb'l Fleur just smoothed it out. It made it a lot less screechy. And for that reason, I really love these together. This lasted 8+ hours together. I smelled both of them. I would say Into the Night's a little bit stronger, but I still smelled them both for 8 hours. So this was a win. And this was by far my favorite scent combo. Okay, the next one I have to mention is Late Day Cocoa. This is a La Gourmand fragrance, I believe. I got this from TJ Maxx, although you can find it at Urban Outfitters too. These two also paired so well together. I felt like if Into the Night was too strong for you with this scent, pair it with this one. It's a lot creamier. It brings out the coconut notes from Reb'l Fleur. This didn't last as long though. This only lasted about 6 hours. Now I still smelled Reb'l Fleur after 6 hours, but it was more of a skin scent, whereas Late Day Cocoa actually had pretty good projection, but just not as good longevity. So keep that in mind. After 6 hours, I didn't really smell Late Day Cocoa. So just keep that in mind. But it's such a nice milky coconut scent. And if you pair it with Reb'l Fleur, it'll bring out the coconut notes of Reb'l Fleur. Reb'l Fleur gives it more depth. It makes it stronger, gives it greater longevity. And it really smooths out Reb'l Fleur. So this was my second favorite. Okay. Please excuse my hands, by the way. It's winter, and yeah, I can't with my hands. Okay, so my third favorite is L'Interdit by Givenchy. These two also paired so beautiful together. L'Interdit has this tuberose note, and so does Reb'l Fleur. Reb'l Fleur has a tuberose note to it. It gives it this bubblegummy quality that they say. I do have to say this about L'Interdit. This reminds me of a lot of other fragrances that I have. A lot of perfumes have the same like undertone. Like it has a similar quality to Donna Born Aroma in some ways. And one of the ones it really reminded me of was like Libre Intense. So just keep this in mind if you want to try this perfume. It is kind of similar to these other white floral scents. I believe they have like a similar white floral that they use, and that's why they kind of remind me of each other. But besides the point, great longevity. L'Interdit lasts for 8+ hours. So if you pair it with this one, this combo will also last 8+ hours. And it just brings out the bubblegum notes that Reb'l Fleur has with the tuberose and what was I going to say? The Reb'l Fleur is strong. So it has like the patchouli notes, and with L'Interdit, it just gives it more depth. L'Interdit gives it more of that bubblegum funness, but it gives it more of that bubblegum note, which kind of brings it to life a little bit more, makes it more on the fun side. So I love these two together. Okay, so my fourth favorite combination is Dark Kiss. Oh, did I mention the longevity? I'm sorry. These lasted all day together. I smelled them for 8+ hours. Okay, so Dark Kiss. This was another great scent combination. I would say this. Now, when I tested this out, on the unfortunate side, my bottle was like down to here on this. So it was hard to get the same longevity, whereas with that I started with, because I was using a lot of this fragrance. So the bottle was like down to here, and I could only do a few sprays. So with Dark Kiss, this had strong longevity for about 6 hours. You could smell both of them. Dark Kiss seemed to outlast it, but that was only because I didn't get enough sprays from Reb'l Fleur because my bottle was so low on the scent. But these two work so well together. Dark Kiss also kind of brings out this bubblegum quality to it. I can't explain it, but it does. It's like a plum note, and I think what works so well with these two is they both have these like fruity kind of, like whereas Dark Kiss has like a plum note, this one kind of has like a rummy, fruity note. So I think that's why they paired really nice together. I do have to say this, although I do prefer Dark Kiss with Riri, whereas that was like a top favorite, this was like, it was still like one of my favorites, but it wasn't like a top favorite, whereas with Dark Kiss with Riri was a little bit better. So just keep that in mind. But they still worked really well together. I liked that they both brought up the bubblegum quality. I thought that was really interesting. So I really enjoyed these two together. And it did last for 6 hours where you could smell it strong and have great projection. Although it did last 8 hours, it was more of a skin set after the 6-hour mark, which was still pretty good. But again, if I had more liquid in this bottle, I think I could have got it to last for 8 hours. So that was disappointing on my part. Okay, so my 5th favorite was 1,000 Christmas Wishes with Reb'l Fleur. So this is like a really like berry scent, like 1,000 Christmas Wishes. It kind of gives me the vibes of Champagne Toast, but more of a berry version, like a darker berry. And Forever Red, where it kind of has the slightly like Swedish fish quality to it, whereas Natalie Grace mentions that Forever Red also kind of has this Swedish fish note, and this kind of has that too. This one, even though it says it's 1,000 Wishes dupe, to me it's closer to Champagne Toast and Forever Red. So just keep that in mind. But besides the point, this is a really beautiful scent, and they pair really nice together. To me, it just makes 1,000 Wishes, 1,000 Christmas Wishes a little bit darker. With adding Reb'l Fleur, it makes it stronger for nighttime. And then the 1,000 Christmas Wishes brings out the berry notes of Reb'l Fleur, since they both have these fruity kind of rum notes to them. They work really well together. So really love this one. Not as great longevity and projection though. I would say after about 5 to 6 hours, the longevity wasn't as strong on 1,000 Christmas Wishes, and the scent together kind of died down, and I smelled Reb'l Fleur for longer. So Reb'l Fleur lasted for 8+ hours, but 1,000 Christmas Wishes only lasted about 5 to 6 hours between the two, I would say. And you know, I could still smell it, like it became a skin scent, so it's not like I couldn't smell it up close, but you know, in terms of projection, only 6-hour, you know, mark the most for this one. Okay, moving on to 6th favorite. So this is kind of in the middle. Prismatic Stars. This one is another nice berry scent. I would say the longevity wasn't as long though. This only lasted together, when I paired these together, about 5 hours, honestly, so not as good. It was fine though. I still think 5 hours is decent enough, but it could be better, you know what I mean? It is a nice berry scent, and I find that with Reb'l Fleur, it was really nice. It paired nicely because Reb'l Fleur has that patchouli-ness to make it darker, and Reb'l Fleur did outlast this one, I would say 8+ hours, but yeah, it was still stronger than Prismatic Stars, and together they only last about 5. So that was more disappointing to me, but the berry note with the fruity notes that Reb'l Fleur had really paired nicely together. I do have to say, with this and 1,000 Christmas Wishes though, I think even though they paired good with Reb'l Fleur, they paired better with Riri. So just had to keep that one in mind. The next scent combo I liked with Reb'l Fleur was Wicked Vanilla Woods. So Wicked Vanilla Woods, it's just this sweet, kind of gives me Good Girl Supreme vibes. So together they paired really well, but not as good as Wicked Vanilla Woods with Riri. I thought that paired even better. Even though this is a dark scent, keep in mind this is more winterish and this is more summerish, because this has like coconut notes and this one just has like these like dark kind of vanilla notes, you know? So for that reason, I think if this was paired with Into the Night, it would be better, because Into the Night is more wintry and this is more summery with the coconut. So I didn't think they were like the perfect pairing. Now it did last for like 8+ hours together. But yeah, that was like the most disappointing thing. I just think that there are scents that paired better with Wicked Vanilla Woods than Reb'l Fleur, and I think because one's more on the summery side and one's more on the winter side, that they didn't mesh the best together. So for that reason, wasn't my favorite. I think just too, because this is more vanilla based, and this has like not berries, but fruity notes, rum, coconuts. You know, if it was just patchouli, it would pair good. But because it's not just patchouli, I don't think it was the best with the vanilla and pepper. So, but it wasn't bad. Okay, moving on. 1, 2, 3. This is my 8th pick. So this is again in the middle. It was okay. Very Sexy with Reb'l Fleur. Very Sexy has this kind of dark quality to it. It's like a dark kind of pomegranate kind of scent. I don't know if it has pomegranate in it, but it has some type of berry. It's really nice. I love this scent, don't get me wrong. Not as great projection and longevity though. This only lasted like 5 to 6 hours, kind of between the 5 to 6 hour mark from what I remember from wearing it at work. And then both of these scents died down. I would say Reb'l Fleur lasted a little bit longer. So this, Reb'l Fleur, I was getting down to here when I tried it. So this only lasted 6 hours, but that was just because I couldn't spray a whole lot. They paired decent enough together, but they weren't perfect pairing. And for that reason, it wasn't like my favorite scent combo. I just think the coconut mixed with this one wasn't as good, but it was okay. Okay, moving on. Little Black Party Dress. Okay, here's what I have to say with this one. This gives me like Jimmy Choo vibes, right? So it's a really strong patchouli scent in a way, but this is a little bit lighter. It's like the fruitier version of Jimmy Choo by Jimmy Choo. Even though this scent compared to Jimmy Choo is so similar, it's like the body spray version. There's like a nectarine note that makes it even sweeter in a way and more like fruity. But this gives me the vibes of like cola. Kind of smells like Pepsi. And it has like a pretty strong patchouli-ness to it. So in that sense that they were decent, right? Because they both have a similar, but not similar patchouli, but they both have patchouli. But they're different types. This one, it's like cola, right? And this one is like, it's like nectarine mixed with Pepsi Cola. And this one is like a coconut scent. So I found that together, it almost kind of smelled Play-Doh-ish. Like it was okay, but the coconut mixed with Pepsi wasn't a perfect pairing, if that makes sense. And it just kind of gave me the vibes of like Play-Doh, where it's like floral and vanilla together, which doesn't always mix, can mix, but not always. It kind of gave me that same type of vibe. So for that reason, it wasn't my favorite. It did last a while. I have to say that. It lasted like 8+ hours together. It was really sweet. It kind of made Little Black Party Dress even sweeter. With the nectarine, I don't know what it was. It must have been the fruity notes mixing, but yeah, it was slightly Play-Doh-ish smelling. So I wasn't the biggest fan of these together. Wasn't horrible, just wasn't the best. But I thought that they would pair together more nicely than they did. I just think they're different types of patchouli scents and they kind of smell different. Okay, so the next scent combo I wanted to mention is brown sugar and fig. This one, I actually, brown sugar and fig is kind of growing on me. You really get the fig note, kind of like this like sweeter, kind of creamy fruit note. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think that these pair the best together. Brown sugar and fig kind of smells like hairspray, and you mix like a fig hairspray, scented hairspray, with with Reb'l Fleur. I just think it kind of made it powdery and kind of soapy and kind of like odd. It was okay. It did last a while. I'd say it lasted about 7 hours together, and then you just smelled Reb'l Fleur. But to me, it just made it too musky, too coconutty. Kind of gave me a similar vibe to Versace Crystal Noir. Like it was good, but that one's better. But you know what I mean? Like where it's kind of like that soapy, musky coconut scent. So it just kind of gave me like a little bit dusty vibes, but it was okay. It's just not my favorite. But it did last a while, so I give it that. Okay, so moving on to, this is my second to least favorite. So this is 11, bubblegum pop. So I wanted these two to work together. I was like really interested in this combo because they both have like bubblegum. So bubblegum pop, I thought it would pair well with tuberose, which kind of smells bubblegummy, but this is too bright. It's too sweet, right? It just was too sweet. I did smell it for a while. It lasted about 6 hours together, and then I just got Reb'l Fleur. Bubblegum pop, it has better scent combos with it. This smells better with Pure Seduction, Pink Sugar, Champagne Toast. It's too bright to wear with Reb'l Fleur. This is just way too dark. And with bubblegum pop is just way too sweet. It's way too bright. It's way too like bubblegummy, kiddish, right? So when you pair these two together, it kind of is giving that same kind of musky, coconut, kind of powdery vibe. Just makes it super powdery, although the bubblegum is nice. Together, they just kind of mixed weird. Like they just kind of smelled like too musky and too powdery. So I wasn't the biggest fan. And I didn't think that they paired the best. So, okay, so my least favorite combo. Okay, how many? This is like my 12th one. Love Spell, right? Okay, guys, no. I don't know what I was thinking, but Love Spell smells like Kool-Aid and like Gatorade to me. It smells like a mix between either cherry, what is the other one? Grape, Kool-Aid, cherry, those type of ones, and maybe even the punch, kind of Gatorade. I don't know, but kind of a mix between that and like Kool-Aid. That's what Love Spell smells like. When you mix it with this, I just think it's too fruity. Love Spell is a fruit bomb. It smells like Kool-Aid and Gatorade. Smells like what you wear after hangover, or what you wear to the locker room in like 7th to high school grade. When you pair it with this scent, right, it's just too dark. Again, it gives off the same vibe, makes it like it just doesn't mix the best together. Love Spell, I think, needs, even though I kind of want it to be darker, I think this is just too patchouli heavy, so it just made it smell musky and just off. All right, you guys, so that is my review